How many of you love to get your nails cared for and treated so they feel nice and look beautiful? Well, I do. Although you don't have to take them to any salon, treating a horse's hooves is just as important. Nature made horses virtual running machines that can reach speeds of nearly 30 to 40 miles per hour. However, a horse is only as good as their feet, and when problems get in the way, the horse cannot be used properly. It is estimated that in the horse industry alone, owners spend approximately $1 billion on hoof-related injuries each year. Issues such as lameness put your horse out of commission and interrupt the enjoyment we experience from our horses. Today I'd like to share with you information concerning proper hoof care. We'll talk about the different parts of the hoof, routine hoof care, including how to properly pick up your horse's hoofs, discuss the importance of trimming your horse's hooves, discuss shoeing and its benefits, as well as highlight some of the most common diseases. Proper foot care is probably one of the most forgotten horse practices. However, it should be as routine as feeding and watering your horse. It is relatively easy to do, yet many owners don't do it as often as they should. Learning and practicing safe handling of your horse's feet is an important step in performing routine hoof care. Horses should be taught early in life to pick up their feet. The idea of picking up your horse's feet can be scary to some horse owners. However, once it is learned, it is relatively safe. So, let's learn how to pick up your horse's feet. Start with the front foot. Approach your horse from the front so he clearly knows you're there and that you do not surprise him. Place yourself even with the shoulder facing his rear. After making sure your feet are not too close to his hooves, start running your hand down his shoulder and leg until you reach his ankle portion. Gently grasp the ankle portion and pick it up. If your horse is being a bit stubborn or hasn't learned how to pick up their feet, try leaning into his shoulder as you're running your hand down his leg. You can also try squeezing the tendon on the side of his leg to further cue him to what you want. If he's still being stubborn, increase the weight you push on his shoulder or on his tendon until he finally lifts his leg. Put your hand in front of the ankle bone or fetlock area as the hoof raises to hold it. I hold the hoof in my hands, but you can hold the hoof in your hands, on your knees, or between your legs. I use my left hand to hold the hoof and my right hand to work with the hoof because I am right hand dominant. Do whatever is comfortable for you. After you've cleaned the hoof, carefully guide it back down to the ground. You do not want to let the horse slam its hoof down, potentially hitting your foot. I always give my horse a pat just to let him know I appreciate his cooperation. Then I move to the back leg and do the same process. Lifting the back leg might feel slightly different than lifting the front leg. There is a natural jerk reaction that you might think is a kick, but it's just a reflex and nothing to worry about. Once the horse has picked up its back foot, you can hold the hoof in your hands, on your knees, or between your legs, just like the front one. Now you can do the opposite side. It's best to start with the front foot again, so you aren't walking up behind your horse. When lifting your horse's feet, it's best to ensure he's standing square so he's balanced. At no time should he be leaning any of his weight on you. It's also best to ensure that your horse is tied up while cleaning so it cannot move around. To understand proper care of your horse's feet, we must first understand what makes up the hoof and what each part does. The hoof itself is made up of 10 parts. There's the periopal, the coronary band, the heel, the commissures, the frog, the bars, the quarters, the sole, the toe, and the hoof wall. Let's start with the hoof wall. The hoof wall is the outside part of the hoof and is a horn-like structure similar to what we think of fingernails. The hoof wall's main purpose is to provide a weight surface area for the hoof that is not easily worn away. The hoof wall is protected by the periopal, which is a varnish-like coating on the outside of the hoof that keeps moisture inside of the hoof. This extends most of the way up towards the coronary band. The coronary band, which is located at the very top of the hoof and attaches to the leg, is a source of growth of the hoof. A healthy hoof will grow about 3/8 of an inch per month, so it'll take about 1 year to grow from coronary band to hoof edge. Again, the new growth of the hoof comes from the coronary band. The sole of the foot is the middle section of the foot and is a white horn-like structure that protects the sensitive inner portion of the hoof. It should be firm and slightly concave, meaning it curves inward. The horse has no feeling at the exterior sole surface. The toe of the foot is at the very front of the foot. If this was a big clock, we could say 11 to 1 o'clock. And the heel is at the very back of the hoof, 5 to 7 o'clock. The quarters are on the sides of the hoof. In the middle of the sole, connecting with the heel, is the frog. The frog is a soft, sponge-like pad that works as a shock absorber when the horse walks, as well as helps pump blood throughout the hoof. The frog is separated from the sole by two lines called bars. The commissures are the valleys between the bars and the frog. The condition of the frog generally is a good indication of the health of the hoof. Without being flexible, the frog cannot expand when the horse walks, thus doing its job of working as a shock absorber, as well as help circulating the blood throughout the hoof. The front feet actually carry more weight than the back feet do, about 60%. The hoof will actually expand when the horse walks, working as a shock absorber when the hoof hits the ground. The hoof will expand anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch, even with horses who have shoes nailed on. Now that we understand how to pick up your horse's hoof and what the different parts are, as well as what they do, let's talk about proper hoof care. Proper hoof care is relatively easy to do, but many times horse owners forget to do it daily. A hoof pick, sometimes with a brush attachment, is all that is required to ensure your horse's hooves stay healthy. These can be found in any farm or supply store for under $5. After picking up your horse's foot, use a hoof pick and clean out the mud, manure, or debris. Pick from heel to toe, being especially careful to clean in the commissures and the cleft or the middle of the frog. Clean the sole of the foot and check for gravel or other foreign objects that may become lodged in the foot. Then if you have one, use a bristle brush to furthermore clean the hoof wall, sole, and frog areas. Objects left in the foot can actually cause bruising. Although the hoof appears hard, an object such as a nail, gravel, a stick, or other objects can work its way into the foot and cause lameness. Objects have been known to work their way through the foot and emerge through the hoof wall, heel, or coronary band months later. If this happens, a sore usually develops and can easily lead to infection. Trimming. Trimming your horse's feet is important, although not needed as frequently as cleaning. Trimming should be done about every 6 to 8 weeks. The main goal of trimming is to retain the proper shape and length of the hoof, much like you do when you trim your fingernails. The bottom of the foot should be kept level. If not, you can put strain on the muscles and tendons in the leg. The hoof wall should be trimmed with nippers, such as these, to remove the excess length. And then a rasp, similar to a fingernail file brush, should be used to smooth and level off the bottom of the hoof. The rasp has a rough side and a smooth side, exactly like a fingernail file. Trimming the surface of the sole is done to keep the pressure on the hoof wall rather than the inner sole itself. Dead, flaky tissue should be moved away using a hoof knife. It's curved to match the curvature of the sole. Trim past all the dry, flaky old sole only down to the live tissue. You'll know when you've trimmed far enough when the sole will appear clear. Trimming the frog is appropriate, but do not trim too much. Remember, the frog should contact or be close to the ground when the horse stands. Trim the frog on the heel of the hoof to open up the V areas. These serve like treads on a tire, allowing the drainage of dirt and manure out from the hoof. If you don't trim this area clean and keep the commissures open all the way back through the hoof, the dirt and manure cannot escape. Trim the bars of the hoof with a hoof knife, even with the hoof walls. Just like the hoof walls, the bars also support the horse as they walk. In general, the angle of the hoof when trimmed should follow the natural slope of the pastern or leg. This puts the muscles and tendons in the most natural position. If you trim your horse too long in the front, this will cause strain because the horse will be walking more on its heels. If you trim your horse too short, the horse can stumble. If not trimmed properly, lameness and other issues can occur. It is important to work with a farrier who is professionally trained in trimming horses' feet properly. Trimming costs between costing $25 to $35 on average per horse. So one question you may be asking yourself is, why do we need to term domestic horses when wild horses seem to do okay on their own? Due to the grain and hay we feed domestic horses, their hoofs grow much faster. Also, due to the terrain that wild horses are in, usually rock or sand, their hoofs get worn away much easier and keep them in alignment. Shoeing. Putting horses' shoes on your horse's hoofs is generally done to protect their feet. Done if you ride on rough or sharp surfaces such as rock or gravel. Done if your horse has tender feet, or done if you're showing and like the smooth look the shoe provides. Horseshoes come in different sizes, and your farrier will determine the size for your horse. Shoes are placed on the bottom of your horse's feet to keep them on, and special hoofing nails are nailed into the bottom of the horse's feet to make sure they stay on. Nails should be driven into the white line area, which is the area between the hoof balls and the inner sole. The hoofing nails should go in a certain way. They have a rough side, which is curved, and a smooth side, which is straight. The rough side should go towards the inner hoof, so when they're nailed, they curve out the side of the hoof and go through the hoof walls like these dots show. After the nails are pounded into the hoof and out the side, your farrier will take his rasp and file off the edges so the horse does not cut its legs. Shoeing costs between $75 to $85 on average per horse. Horses' hoofs don't grow as much during the winter because their energy is spent on keeping warm rather than letting their energy go to growing out their hoofs. Thus, it is not usual to kick off shoes in late fall, do really good trim, and wait till spring. Diseases of the hoof generally cause lameness, which puts your horse out of commission. I'd like to discuss 3 of the most common diseases of the hoof. Thrush is a disease that rots away the frog area. This hoof disease is caused by a bacterial infection. If left untreated, the condition leads to pain and discomfort for your horse and makes him lame or sore to walk. Thrush survives in wet, unsanitary conditions, but there are several factors that can lead to thrush. Proper health care can go a long way in preventing thrush. Symptoms of thrush can be a foul smell in the hoof area. There can be black pus oozing from the frog or heel areas. The frog might appear to be decaying, and lameness and discomfort when you press your thumb on the frog. To heal thrush, you will need to destroy the bacteria. Your veterinarian or farrier will diagnose a case of thrush, and you can buy products to put on the hoof to eliminate the bacteria. Keeping stalls clean, not having your horse stand around in a dirty, wet, muddy lot, and doing daily hoof care can go a long way in preventing thrush. Laminitis or hoof founder is another pesky hoof disease. Founder is a painful condition for the horse. It is where the laminae, which attaches the hoof wall to the sole area, swells. If left untreated, there can actually become a gap in the bottom of the hoof. Early symptoms can include heat in the hoof and lameness. Immediate veterinarian or farrier care is necessary. If caught early, the probability of cure is good. However, once your horse is foundered, it will always be foundered, and you'll probably need to keep its hoofs properly trimmed for the rest of its life. Causes of a founder in a horse can be caused by many reasons. Improper diet or infections, stress, improper farrier care, or injury. Grass founder in the spring is common, or if your horse is overweight, grazes on open grass, and doesn't get any exercise, they are more susceptible to founder. For some reason, ponies are more susceptible to founder than horses are. Finally, each time you check your horse's hoofs, check for abscesses. Hoof abscesses can be scary for a horse owner. In fact, one of the reasons I did this presentation was because my horse experienced an abscess this winter and I didn't know about it until this spring. An abscess is a sore inside the horse's hoof caused by a bruise or a puncture or a crack in the hoof. If you're not cleaning your horse's hooves out regularly, objects can be driven into your horse's hooves by pressure being placed on the sole. Infection sets into the hoof and causes pain and discomfort for your horse. Then pus will collect inside of this wound, and the increased pressure causes more pain. The pus tries to escape in the easiest way possible, which is many times through the coronary band. It can also come through a weak area in the hoof. Once the abscess drains the pus from the hoof, the infection generally goes away and your horse returns to normal. Although an abscess cannot heal on its own, I recommend you contact your vet or farrier for assistance. They will try to detect the point of entry and cut a hole in the hoof to allow the fluid to drain quicker. Antibiotics may also be prescribed. You should keep the hoof as clean as possible, and your vet may prescribe you soaking the infected area with vinegar before covering it with a bandage that they might recommend. In summary, your horse is only as good as her feet. Without proper hoof care, you can run the risk of lameness and disease. Taking care of your horse's feet properly is not difficult or even takes a lot of time. You should remember to clean hooves before and after you ride. Check shoes each time you clean hooves. Schedule regular farrier visits, usually 6 to 8 weeks. Know the parts of the hoof and why they are important. And look for the signs of thrush, foul, or abscesses and seek a vet or farrier if necessary. Just like you and I like to keep our nails clean, healthy, and looking good, your horse likes to have you help them keep their feet healthy and feeling good too. To prevent lameness and ensure your horse is ready for riding whenever you want to, it is especially important to take proper care of your horse's feet. But, unlike spending hours in any salon, with just a few minutes each day, you can ensure you and your horse have many happy riding hours together. This concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Can you tell us, you told us why you wanted to do this presentation. What kind of horses do you have at your home or farm and show?
The question was like, what kind of horses do I have at my house and do I show? I actually have a Bay Overo paint, and which is about 17 hands. And he's a pleasure horse, and I've showed him in open shows weekly. So usually every Saturday before the state fair, I went to open shows and showed him. I also own 2 other quarter horses, but I don't show them, and they're older, so I don't ride them as much, but they're still fun to trail ride and stuff. Any more questions? Thank you. Oh.
Where did you get all your information?
The question was, where did I get all my information? I got some of my information on the internet, but I got most of my information from my local farrier, Dwayne Axler, and he helped me a lot, and so that's where I got all my information pretty much. Yes.
Is doing some kind of work with horses something that you're thinking about in your future career?
The question was, do I have any interest working with horses in my future career? I don't think I want to trim horses' hooves as a career, but I think I want to have horses when I'm older and ride them and show them and just have them in my life to have fun. So, any other questions? This concludes my presentation. Thank you.